Lesson 10.11, geometric mean. This is again like 10.10 where you have an altitude drawn to a hypotenuse in a big triangle. And so geometric mean is really just finding like an average. Mean means average. And what you're doing is you're square rooting a product of something. But basically what this is going to show you is that there's a quicker way if you can remember this little formula. Okay, so when you have one big right triangle with an altitude being drawn down through it, it's going to create 1, 2, 3 similar triangles, a small, medium, and a large. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to take your altitude squared, set it equal to your piece of hypotenuse times piece of hypotenuse. So my altitude in this whole triangle is 16. I would have 16 squared equaling my piece, saying, okay, I'm taking down my altitude. This is a piece, is 8, and this is a piece. So it split this hypotenuse into these two pieces. So I would have 8 times, I would have to call this x. Okay, and so then all I'm doing from there is solving. I would have 16 squared is 256 equaling 8 times x. And then I would divide by 8. X is 32. But sometimes that's all they'll want. They'll want DC. This actually asked for AC, which is all the way from point A to point C. So we would have to add 8 plus 32, which would get me a total length of 40. So just be careful with the wording. Sometimes you'll have questions, they just wanted this piece, but sometimes they want you to take it a step further and add them together. And the reason this works is because this is still saying I'm setting up a proportion where, like in this little triangle, I have what? Short leg to long leg is 8 to 16. And then in this one, I have short leg is 16 of this medium triangle to long leg, I don't know, is x. And so what I have is 16 times 16, or 16 squared equals 8 times x. So if you don't like this formula, you can actually do exactly what you did before and set up a proportion and solve, and you'll get the same answer. All right, so number 2, we're given the right triangle, whole thing, has this altitude BD, and it's splitting this hypotenuse into 2 pieces, 15 and 12. I don't know BD, so I'm going to call it x. So again, my formula here is going to say that I take the altitude and square it, and then it's equal to 15 times 12, or 12 times 15, piece times piece. And so 15 times 12 is 180, and I'm going to square root 180, which I've done this a lot. I know the biggest perfect square in 180 is actually 36. It's 36 times 5. And square root of 36 is 6 square roots of 5. And that would be my answer. So every time if you're using this, make sure it's your altitude squared equals piece times piece of the hypotenuse of the whole big triangle.